My name is Mary Ellen Mark, and I'm a photographer. And I've been a photographer since I graduated from college.
And what kind of work do you do?
I'm a social documentary photographer. I photograph people, both as a portrait photographer and as, environmental, like on the street or environmental, in the home.
In the home. You have been a long-time resident of SOHO. Can you tell me how that happened?
Well, when I first came to New York, after I graduated from University of Pennsylvania, and then I had a Fulbright to photograph, and I went to Turkey, and then I came to New York, and the first area I lived in was Murray Hill. I rented, it was a rent control apartment on 38th and Park, a small apartment, but it was nice. It was a nice area. And I decided, I was there, I guess, in the 60s. I was there in the 60s, and then in 1974, an aunt of mine said that she would buy me a place of my own. And so I looked all over the city. I looked at many things, and I mean, the prices were amazing then. I looked on Park Avenue, and I looked Upper West Side, and there were lots of places I saw that were quite nice. But as soon as I saw the space on West Broadway and Prince, I just knew immediately that was where I wanted to live, and I wanted that loft. And the neighborhood was very different then. It was very quiet. There was very few restaurants. There was a restaurant on Spring and West Broadway, like a bar and restaurant, Spring Street Bar. And then there was food, a restaurant on Prince Street called Food. It was very good food, but it was like cafeteria style. And there was a bodega across the street from me. And there were galleries. There were lots of art galleries. But it wasn't the kind of neighborhood that it's become. But I loved that loft. I just loved it.
And when was that? When did you come, actually?
In 1974.
Very early on.
1974.
Yeah.
But that was the place for me. I knew it immediately.
And you're still there, and why is that?
Sometimes I have nightmares that I move, and I so regret moving. Then I wake up and I'm still there. I haven't moved, so I'm happy. I'm still there because I love the space. There's lots of windows and light, and I love the neighborhood. I mean, it has changed a lot, but I still think it's a wonderful neighborhood.
And is it a co-op?
It's a co-op. Yeah.
I understand it was like the first co-op in SOHO. Is that true?
It's possible. I wasn't actually. Robert Hughes is the one that made it into a co-op. I wasn't there when that happened.
I see.
The streets were quiet. They were quiet and lonely, but that was nice. It wasn't full of people in traffic at all. And the elevator in the building, it was one of these big old elevators that had a string that you would pull, a pulley that took you to the floor.
And who did you sort of meet in your neighborhood? Who was there at that time?
Well, I mean, I met the people in the building, like Bob Hughes. He lived on the 6th floor of the building, and he had all these parrots. One of them bit me. And lots of parrots, exotic birds, tons of them. I met Mapplethorpe and at his apartment, and he was always having parties with interesting artists there. Sam Wagstaff and people like that. It was always a really interesting environment. So I met him, and then there were galleries in the neighborhood, and Leo Castelli and Twani Castelli had a beautiful space across the street. And Ileana Sonnabend had a space too in this building that was sort of catty-cornered, a modern building across from where I lived. And that was a wonderful gallery. There were wonderful galleries there. And it was kind of like a industrial area. We describe it as an industrial area. There was also across the street like a big donut factory. They always smelled wonderful donuts.
What's special about the neighborhood? What's special about the
What was special or what is special? It's
What
different.
was special?
What was special is the spaces that one could live in were very beautiful, that it was a neighborhood supposedly devoted to artists.
The architecture, do you think?
The industrial buildings were beautiful, and the spaces inside were beautiful. No, it was, you know, you weren't overwhelmed by it. I mean, in parts of Manhattan can be very overwhelming, although I love New York. But no, it was a great neighborhood. It was quiet and great and full of artists. I mean, now they're so expensive, the spaces, that many artists, unless they're so successful, they can't afford to buy spaces anymore in Soho. It's still the neighborhood I would choose to live in. I don't think I would move out of Soho.